I haven't had internet for about 2 or 3 weeks, so that was interesting. You'd be surprised not having internet, the amount of things you can get done in terms of things you need to do. So it was a not something I wanted, but it was it was a bit of a break from the internet for a while. But I've got some pickups today, so I'm going to show them off quickly. Let's get to it. First one is my fingers in the way. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the Sega Master System. I've owned this as a child. Sadly, I sold all my games at some point for the next best thing. You know how it is with most people. This is a very, very interesting game. It's slightly more difficult to come by than the first game. The first game's rather quite easy in most places, but this game's the opposite. This is bleeding hard, and and this is one of the only Sonic games where Green Hill is not the first stage. And in fact, it's not even called Green Hill. This particular game, it's called Green Hills. But it's a totally different game to the Sega Mega Drive Genesis game. It's only one player. I said it's quite a challenging game. I've got the manual and the box. That wasn't scripted. So as you can see, it's in fairly good condition. And the boxes on Master System games are pretty durable as well, so that's quite handy to have. It's very, very cool. Again, the only thing I would say with the Master System is that they didn't do a lot when it comes to the way that the games look. They're quite bland, there's no pictures, it really needs a picture on it. But that came on eBay, and that was about, I think, phone keeps getting annoying, 12-ish quid, 12 to £15. Well worth it. I've just started collecting. I can't record this at the moment because I don't have a Master System power base converter, which is something you slot onto the Mega Drive, and then you can put Master System games in the top, and you can just play all your Master System collection, whatever you own. The thing is, there's two different versions of the Master System. There's a version 1 for the Mega Drive Model 1 Genesis, and there's another one for the Mega Drive 2 Genesis, etc. So yeah, so I might look at picking it up at some point, but it's well worth trying it out. I've been told it's quite rare in the US as well. Apparently, Master Systems were not that popular in the US. I don't know about Canada, but I know in Europe and the UK and South America they were very, very popular. In fact, I knew more people that had Sega than Nintendo. But it's got some interesting history in the Master System, and it's one of those systems that most of the games are relatively sensibly priced. There are some silly ones here and there, but nothing stupid like you get with certain games, which is the next series of games I'm going to get onto where, well, you probably know what I'm going to go on about. We're going to move on to GameCube, because I've been collecting for GameCube for a while now, and I've picked up quite a few games. Next one is Star Fox Adventures. This is it's not the bad game a lot of people make this out to be. I've heard a lot of people saying it's just crap. I'm like, I don't think it's crap. It's, from what I understand, they've just taken the Star Fox franchise and just sort of labeled it onto another game as such. I've streamed maybe half the game, if possibly half the game. I prefer Lilac Wars, Star Fox 64, for sure. But there was a point I got to where I had to get on a speeder bike and chase these little minions, and if you didn't get to them by a certain point in the sort of the chase, you'd have to start the whole thing again, which was kind of tedious. But it's old school game design for it to some degree, so it's not that bad. And again, this one was only, I think it was £16. I think it was in the end. It didn't come with a manual, sadly, but the disc is in good condition, and it's the PAL version, which is nice to have. But again, PAL versions they're quite expensive. Some of them, they really are. Twilight Princess, I'm looking at you. I still haven't managed to get hold of that. I just don't know if I can justify 90 quid for one GameCube game. Next one is another one I've wanted. I have the Resident Evil collection, the original PS1 games on, and the PS2 stuff on PS3 digitally, but I wanted a physical copy. And I did on about the PS1 version, but I don't know, the GameCube version I was quite curious about because it's essentially just a port of the PS1 game, but I don't know if there's a lot of differences. When I tried it out, I didn't see a lot of differences, other than the fact that it's going to be a higher resolution, I imagine, upscaled and stuff. This was £41, I think it was. I managed to win the auction without very few problems. I was quite surprised because these games are quite sought after, and I've already backed up most of these on the Nintendo Wii, so I can just run these off a USB stick. Keeps the disc in good condition, I suppose, but it's always nice to have the physical copy. We'll see. I have been told of a thing called disc rot with GameCube games, so I'm hoping that's not necessarily true, but it is possible. And the last one was the one I've been trying to get on for ages, and that's Star Fox Assault. Now this is the US Canada edition. It's an interesting game. This straight away I will say that after playing through this, I've got all the way to the last level. It's not as good as Star Fox 64 or Lylat Wars, whatever you call it. Is it better than Adventure? Yes, I would say, only because it's in the similar vein to Star Fox 64, Lylat Wars as such. But it's I don't know. I played through quite right to the end. I'm on the last stage where I'm like on the wing of Star Wolf's aircraft, which is weird because Star Wolf was pretty much a main villain in the N64 games. So yeah, so it was a bit of a weird one, but it's made by Namco, I believe it, unless that's the publisher. I think it's Namco and it's published by Nintendo. I could be getting that wrong. This one came in at it's actually quite cheap. Normally I couldn't get this game for less than £41. I looked everywhere for a while, and then I managed to find a copy somehow. I think it was a buy now at like £36, which is a bit of a steal because it's the Canadian version. Obviously, I have to use the freeloader to get it running. But once you load the disc in, no real issues with it. This is the only one for some reason I can't get to run on the homebrew on the Wii. So, if anyone in the comments knows the reason why, have you got to change some settings in the homebrew for Nintendo Wii? Because I can't get this one to run; it just doesn't load for some reason. But I'll give it a try. It's backed up, and I've still got the RetroArch emulator on my Series X to test on. So we'll see whether it runs on there or not. Because I couldn't get Resident Evil, the remake of the original Resident Evil, running on it either. So maybe some compatibility issues, or it's just something I'm doing wrong in the settings. But I guess I'll try and figure that out. But I will be doing some more gameplay videos on something or other. It's just finding the time. And obviously I'm on Sky Internet instead of Virgin Media now, so my broadband is going to be a lot slower because I'm out in the countryside, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, thanks for your time, and see you later.